Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Zzzax of Life podcast. It has, as is the norm at this point, it's been multiple months since our last episode. So I'm Mike Mack. That's Kyle Burbank.
Hello.
How are you, Kyle? It's like I said, it's been a while, so
It has been a while. I'm doing well. I've been rewatching WandaVision for reasons I'm sure people can figure out, but we can also discuss later.
I didn't rewatch WandaVision. I should have. It's been a while since I watched that, but I did a rewatch
on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I did a rewatch of like all of whatever phase that was considered at this point. Probably like last year, so it hasn't been that long, I guess. But yeah, we are back, which means, of course, there is another Marvel project going on. If you're listening or watching this, you are, I hope, aware that Agatha All Along is now streaming on Disney Plus, the first 2 episodes, which we will be discussing today. We are last episode months ago was our San Diego Comic-Con breakdown, so we didn't get to do our typical games. We will have our games, our How Much Is That Cameo and a Ridiculous Draft in this episode. And before we get into our Agatha All Along breakdown, though, let's catch up on some news. I am not going to run through 2 months worth of news, so I picked out some highlights. So what better place to start catching up on 2 months of news than earlier today? We had a teaser, I guess. I know you
mentioned that our last episode was the Comic-Con recap, and you just informed me that this 3-minute and 23-second teaser is actually the footage that they showed at Comic-Con.
Yeah, there was a different clip at the end. You know how they do like the post credit of the teaser, like they show the title screen and then they put a little clip. That clip was different from what I saw previously. But yeah, let's talk about this quote unquote teaser for Thunderbolts. What did you think?
I thought it was fun. It was cool to see Yelena and Red Guardian back together, and Val. We haven't seen her for quite a while, it feels like. And yeah, kind of like you're saying, rewatching those shows, like I'm gonna toss Black Widow in with the shows just because it came out during a time when you can only watch it on your TV, basically. So it's cool to finally have some of these things coming together and paying off after we have all these other characters that are just floating around with no confirmed attachments to anything.
Yeah, this feels like a taste of what we've been itching for so long. The Avengers coming together is sort of like the big culmination of the MCU. And this isn't the Avengers, it's the Thunderbolts. It's as much smaller with an asterisk, yes. I'm sure we'll get the answer for that at some point. But
it's going to be so much nothing.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I agree.
This is their new thing, because they did I'm convinced that the Agatha thing was also just, hey, they'll write about us every 2 months if we just keep changing the title. Right. So I think they just put this little thing there. Oh, they changed the title. What could that mean? They're just going to keep asking them until it's released. Like, you got to see the movie. You got to see the movie. And then we're going to see the movie. And it's going to be just nothing.
Right. Yeah. I think you threw this theory out there when they first revealed the asterisk that it's probably going to be like they didn't agree on that team name. So it's Thunderbolts with an asterisk. I like that. I think that's probably true. But yeah, I really like this teaser. I was looking forward to Thunderbolts, but usually I'm looking forward to the bigger movies that are going to move the overall story arc further. And this does not feel like that. However, this trailer and the trailer for Captain America Brave New World, they get Winter Soldier vibes, right? Which makes sense. I mean, it's a Captain America movie, Winter Soldiers in Thunderbolts. But it gives you that vibe of a movie. And I feel like these 2 movies look like they're going to be like some of the best that the MCU has given us. So there was a lot to break down out of this trailer too. All these characters,
his arm in a dishwasher.
Yeah.
You know,
Vibranium is dishwasher safe. That's good to know. Yeah, seeing these characters, Ghost, Taskmaster, seeing them come back. Ghost and the combination of Ghost and Taskmaster and their looks are so similar. You see like Taskmaster use a bow and arrow real quick. And then I don't know if you got like Kate Bishop vibes out of Ghost. I saw that and I was like, wait, is she in this movie? And then I heard her talk And I was like, okay, no, never mind. That makes more sense.
I only watched it once. I'll have to watch it again. So
yeah. But it was really cool seeing all of these characters come together. And then we did get a glimpse of, and actually heard him talk for a little bit, of Bob, as he introduces himself. Robert Reynolds, aka the Sentry, who is an awesome character that I can't wait to see in the MCU. So this movie looks really, really good. I'm really excited for this one, much more so than I was before seeing this footage. So looking forward to that.
I was expecting to see a Thunderbolt, but
technically you don't really see a Thunderbolt, though, right?
I mean Thunderbolt Ross.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I would be curious.
There might be a reason for that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because this does come out after Captain America.
I mean, I guess they didn't want to call it Red Hulks.
Fair. Yeah. And the Thunderbolts team in the comics has had a lot of different lineups too. So I don't think all of these characters have been a part in the comics, but there's been, like, Baron Zemo is a Thunderbolt in the comics. So there's a lot of other characters that could be involved as well. So I'd be interested to see where this goes. But yeah, really excited for it. Looking forward to it for sure. Let's catch up on a few other pieces of news before we get to, believe it or not, since San Diego Comic-Con, another big Disney thing has happened. So there's some stuff to talk about from that. But a few other little smaller pieces of news first. It's a Small World with Groot. If you haven't gotten a chance to see the sort of sneak peek that it's Tokyo Disneyland, right?
Yeah, Tokyo. Yeah. The current attraction is closed right now, as our own Luke is over there and slightly disappointed that he doesn't get to go on it.
Our own Luke.
I was gonna say his full name, and then I just not like it's on the website.
Not your Luke. He is our Luke.
We are Luke.
So yeah, you can check out a sneak peek of what this. Basically, they're adding Marvel character puppets to puppets. The right word? They look like.
So I think the concept is that Groot is going and exploring the world. So you see him. There's several baby Groots, but then some other characters kind of in that Mary Blair It's a Small World style. So it looks like it's a lot of fun for an overlay. I'm sure people are still upset about it, but I wish that I could. I wish it were worth flying that far and spending that much money to go see. Although the yen exchange is quite favorable to Americans at the moment.
I mean, Tokyo Disney Sea alone is worth making the flight over there. But yeah, this does look really cool, and adorable versions of your favorite Marvel characters. And you can see, if not all of them, at least a lot of them on laughingplace.com right now. Let's see what else. Agatha Harkness, speaking of the Disney parks, debuted a new costume for Oogie Boogie Bash over in Disney California Adventure. I have not gotten to do Oogie Boogie. I've been seeing a lot of videos from this year, and it looks really awesome. And Agatha is fantastic once again, so keep an eye out for that. James Spader is returning to the MCU, reprising his role of Ultron in the Vision series. I am really excited for that. I didn't expect to see Ultron return at all, to be honest, given the reaction, the fan reaction to his portrayal in Avengers Age of Ultron. But I'm very happy to see that he is returning. This is sort of like Ultron's calling card, is just, he just keeps coming back. He's never gone. So I'm really glad that he is coming back in whatever capacity it is. And James Spader was great. So happy to see that as well.
Seems like an easy paycheck for him. It's just a voice.
And honestly, he probably doesn't need to record all that much. Like, it's probably a lot of what he's already said. So
he's going to just sing Pinocchio exclusively this time.
I wouldn't be at the trend, the way things work now. I wouldn't be surprised if they do release like an Ultron's version of No Strings leading up to the Vision series, which we still don't have a title for, which is interesting. We keep getting news about it, but there's no like official. I don't know. I feel like Marvel's kind of dragging their feet on that
Ultron series.
Did I? I meant Vision.
I don't know. You might have, but yeah, Vision series.
Either way, yeah, we don't have a name either way, so it might be Vision / Ultron. Who knows?
Ultron. Wait, no, you can't do
that. That's different. Kyle, there was a new Kraven trailer. Did you see that?
Of course, I did not.
Yeah, me neither. So moving on to the next piece of news, there was a new trailer for Venom: The Last Dance. Did you happen to see that one?
I saw what you wrote, and that's all I needed.
Yeah. No, that is true. That is all you needed, because I was kind of upset with this trailer, excited and upset. Basically, the headline here: Null is involved in this third Venom movie, and Null is a recent character debuted in 2020, the King of Black series in the comics. I believe was 2020. He's awesome. He's just such an amazing character design, really cool character. It was such a good story. I was really, really into that story arc, and then immediately excited to see it play out in the movies. Unfortunately, it is playing out in the third Venom movie produced by Sony. So I'm a little upset with that. But he did look really cool. And there are some theories out there that Null will not be a one and done villain, and we might see him carry over into the MCU. That would be a stretch, I think, but he's a character that deserves that sort of treatment. So I hope that is true. The rumor, we don't know yet who is playing Null, but the rumor is Norman Reedus, which I kind of like. I haven't seen Norman Reedus in anything else outside of The Walking Dead, but I really, really liked him in that. So I'd be interested to see his portrayal of the character.
Who's playing Void?
Void?
I figure if you have Null and Void, they have to.
Well, it's honestly, that joke didn't click for me because Void is a character.
I figured it would be. It just makes sense.
Yeah, the Sentry / the Void. That's like two versions of the same character. So, but yeah, no. So Null. Now I'm just gonna yeah. Now I want Null and Void as that should just be the title of a movie. Yeah, Null will be coming to Venom: The Last Dance again. I hope it is not the end of his screen time there. I'm just going to throw out my crazy theory for how I want this to happen. So there's the fan theory out there that the Venom movies are taking place within the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe, right? So Null, and we know that this third Venom movie is the last one. It's called The Last Dance. So I'm hoping it's like a Null wipes them out. Like they're done. And Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man finds a way to jump into 616, goes to Tom Holland's Spider-Man and says, he killed our world and now he's coming for yours. And that brings Null into the MCU. That's my, blue sky hope right there. Again, I don't put a lot of investment into that, but hopefully, that's what my fingers are crossed for. Speaking of Tom Holland Spider-Man, we have a director for the fourth Spider-Man movie, and that is Destin Daniel Cretton, which is a really interesting choice. Now, Marvel has been shifting directors around, specifically Cretton. So I would be interested to see if this actually holds true by the time that this movie is happening. But I'm very curious to see why this is their choice. If you're not familiar, Destin Daniel Cretton is the director of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I thought he did an awesome job with that movie. So I'd be really curious to see what he does with a Spider-Man movie. And I mean, the stronger rumors beyond Null is that we will see a symbiote in this fourth Spider-Man movie. So in some capacity, we'll see how that goes. So I'd be really curious to see how he handles that. What do you think? How did you feel about this director?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he found another project. Although I think he's still attached to Shang-Chi too.
Yes, that one he is, but not the Avengers.
Right. No, he was supposed to do the fifth one, right, as we'll call it now.
Yeah.
Before the Russos came back, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Like obviously, if they're having, I just had another thought. If they were trusting him to make the fifth Avengers movie, they feel that he can balance a lot of moving parts. And so I think, especially if you are talking about symbiotes, obviously the third Spider-Man and the Tobey thing, once they got to symbiotes, it got a little messy. So I think this shows that they probably have faith in him still in that capacity.
Yeah, maybe let's just not also put Sandman in there or Hobgoblin / Green Goblin. All right, let's jump into D23, and we won't spend too much time on this just because it was so long ago at this point, but there were quite a bit there was quite a bit of Marvel news to talk about. Specifically in the parks, we got the name in Avengers Infinity Defense is the name of that big e-ticket attraction that will be coming to Avengers Campus in Disney California Adventure in the future. some
The
point.
future.
Yep. Just it's not now, so it'll be happening eventually. We also learned of another attraction that's coming. It'll be called Stark Flight Lab. It's kind of a flight simulator,
It's a
mechanical
Kuka arm.
arm thing. Yeah, it's a Kuka arm. If you're not familiar with theme park terminology, you can Google it and get a good idea. I have no idea.
If you've ever been on Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, you've done it. Or if you ever did Sum of All Thrills back at Epcot's Innovations.
Yeah. So it's that. The more exciting piece, I think, is that Robert Downey Jr. is reprising his role as Tony Stark for this attraction.
You actually take issue with this.
You take issue with this?
I take issue because the California Avengers Campus is meant to be tied to the Avengers Campus in Paris as well as Stark Expo in Hong Kong, and both of those have non-RDJ Iron Man, so it's not going to match.
Interesting. I mean, maybe
unless he's redubbing the rest of them, which I don't think he's doing.
I mean, I feel like it would be maybe like what, an hour or two of work to voice over those attractions real quick,
especially because they know which lines they're going to use.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But that I didn't even think about that. So that's a good point. There are 2 new Spider-Man attractions coming to Hong Kong and Shanghai as well. One they just referred to as a thrill ride, but it very much the concept art is showing you a roller coaster. And the other one looks very similar to like a Tower of Terror type of attraction with Dr. Octopus involved. So that seems really cool. In the MCU, we got looks at Daredevil Born Again, which showed the White Tiger, hero/villain, looks like playing a little bit of an in-between role in the show. And then in Ironheart, because yes, Ironheart is still happening. We got to look
just sitting there.
Yeah, we got to look at the Hood, who is a street level villain that is really, really cool. And I'm excited to see him in the MCU. In animation, we learned that Iron Fist is going to be a part of the Eyes of Wakanda series. I guess not officially. We were told a character will appear that has, their name is based on
Iron
their title.
Fist.
Yeah, that basically that refers to a glowing fist. Not too many characters fit that description. So Iron Fist, pretty sure he's going to be in Eyes of Wakanda. We don't know that it'll be Danny Rand. It could be a different iteration of the Iron Fist, but so I'm interested to see that. Spider-Man Freshman Year, another animated series that, is still coming, I guess.
It's not called that anymore, though, right?
You're right. I'm sorry. Yes. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is the name of the series now. It was Spider-Man Freshman Year. They changed that because, as you pointed out, the trend earlier. But the series will feature Norman Osborn, Doctor Strange, and a symbiote. So that's what we learned about that animated series at D23. And then finally, some footage was shown for Marvel Zombies. And we did learn that is officially TVMA, which is really, really cool. I'm interested to see what that series has to offer. Looks like Shang-Chi is going to be a big role in that series. So I'm interested to see that. Cool. Anything else before we jump into Agatha All Along, Kyle?
I don't think so. Oh, well, there are some Agatha products coming out, and some of them just say Agatha, which makes me wonder whether that's a choice because they didn't want to put all the words or because they started production on their packaging a few months ago, and they actually did change it from Agatha to Agatha All Along.
Was Agatha one of the titles?
Agatha was one of the titles. We're like, oh, okay, haha, because it's been Agatha all along. Like, I feel like half of them, I feel like most of them were fake, and they landed on Agatha, and then decided to change it one more time. That's the only one I think was legit.
Fair, yeah, that seems.
Or at least maybe they started with having a subtitle, and then I don't know. I don't think all of them were intended.
No, I agree with you. I was the first switch. I was like, oh, okay, I think they changed the name. But no, after that, I was like, oh, no, this is definitely a marketing strategy. All right, let's jump into the first 2 episodes of Agatha All Along, which are now streaming on Disney+. And if you're watching live, yes, Kyle has the banner up there for you. Spoilers. This will be a full spoiler discussion. If you have not yet watched the show, what are you doing? Go watch the show and then come back and listen to us later on. All right. So as long as that banner is up,
in, though, can I ask you? I know you didn't have this experience because Mr. Fancy Pants gets to see stuff early, but what do you think of this 6 p.m. release? Not on the day before the announced release date, but on the announced release date, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
it's been a while since we had a Disney Plus show released like this. I think that I was
because like normally what they do is like, hey, it comes out September 18th. Oh, surprise, September 17th. It's up at 6 p.m. Yeah. And this time it's like, hey, it comes out today. You just need to wait till tonight.
Right. Yeah, I actually didn't even think about it until so now you just mentioned it this way, that this makes more sense to me, because I was expecting to watch it at like 7 a.m. the day it came out, and then remembered like the day before, oh yeah, I can't do that. It won't come out until 9 o'clock. But yeah, I did. Yes, I watched the episodes early, but I did also have this experience because I wanted to watch it again with my wife. So yeah, we did. We waited, like 8:50. We had Disney Plus open, ready to go, and then refreshing, and finally watched right at 9 o'clock. So I like it. I like that they release these, whether it's the date of or the day before, whatever. I like that they release these shows at 6 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever time, based on where you are.
Yeah, I like the idea of it. It's just, it's a little weird to be like, it comes out today, but at night. And I guess the reason that they're doing that this time is because Dancing with the Stars airs live on Tuesday nights. Yeah. But I feel like they could have thought of that ahead of time.
What did you think of so this series gives us the return of the Marvel Television banner. And that really threw me off, seeing the new scroll for Marvel Television.
It's shorter.
It's much shorter, yeah. And then
watching WandaVision again, every time the full Marvel fanfare, I'm like, yeah, I guess you don't really need all of this.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned WandaVision, because that's what I thought this was when it started. I was like, oh, are we doing like a WandaVision thing? And then it was just, oh no, that's just the new banner screen. Okay. But yeah, I like it. So we got Marvel Television back, which is really just whatever. It's just what they're calling their.
It's part of their ploy to be like, we know that there's like 30 movies that you're not going to go watch. So like, please just join us. Like, we can't just keep appealing to the 2% of nerds who are going to keep up.
Right. Yeah. The 2% of nerds who are listening to this podcast. So the first episode starts off, we pick up right where WandaVision left Agatha/Agnes, living in this simulation created by Wanda. And I did not realize what this was a reference to, because I have never seen the show, but you informed me.
It is the Mayor of Easttown, starring Kate Winslet, an HBO series. And Marshall actually predicted this and forgot that he predicted this, because I had to point it out to him. And on that note, my biggest disappointment with this episode, I'll get it out of the way right now, is that they have a whole episode about Mayor of Easttown, but they don't have Evan Peters in it, who was in Mayor of Easttown and in WandaVision. Like, that just seems like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you bring back Ralph Boner for a scene?
Yeah, by the way, I feel like if there's any project where you can say the A word, it's the one where we've seen the A word. So but yeah, so that was I like the reference. And actually, I want to give credit to Mike C too. He was the first one to point out to me that this was a Mayor of Easttown reference.
I mean, it's called Agatha of Westview, but sure.
Well, but that doesn't. It's just something of something. I mean, it could be anything.
Well, they also released. But what was confusing was before they released that, they released some teaser posters, and some of them were parodies. So like one of them looks exactly like Rocky Horror, and another one is a dead ringer for the original True Detective. So when he was talking about it being a parody of an HBO show, I was like, oh, it could be a True Detective, but I'm hoping it's Mayor of Easttown.
I should have mentioned this at the top too. Let me preface this a little bit. I have seen 2 more episodes, so I will avoid getting into any of that. But I think they're still going to play around with some, there's some WandaVision elements to this show. So I think I don't know that you'll see like a full-on Rocky Horror, sort of episode or anything like that. But I think you'll see references to,
because there's like musical. We know there's musical numbers because there's a little featurette you can watch with Kristen Anderson Lopez and Bobby Lopez talking about some of the songwriting.
Yeah. So and we'll talk about the one song that we've heard so far. But so
I can't stop listening to on Spotify. By the way, it's all we sing. Randomly,
it's been playing.
Nobody, absolutely nobody. Down.
Yeah, it's been stuck in my head. Like different versions of it too. Like it's just been playing.
I've only heard one version of it, Matthew. So
Well, no, they've released multiple versions, like on whatever streaming. But anyway, so we get into this simulation. Agnes is a detective investigating the murder of what we quickly learn is Wanda.
Or we can just assume from the very beginning.
Yes, that's true too. Yeah.
But yeah, they're not paying Lizzie Olsen to see her face.
No, I would love to see like a behind the scenes thing where it's just that the body is actually her, like she's just laying there. But so we see that it is Wanda. She's investigating. She finds what do you call? I was struggling so hard writing my recap of this episode. What do you call the card that like has the checkout information from a library book? Because it's not a library card. That's what you have to.
It'd be like a checkout card, or checkout.
Yeah, I couldn't come up with a name for it, but you have one of those that plays a big role in this episode. And it is did you catch this the name of the book? I mean, I know we saw it written out later on. But dialogue and rhetoric of known history of learning and debate by Andrew Ugo. That was the name of the book, which of course the what's the term? Is it an acrostic? What is that the first letter of every word?
Yeah,
right. Like but it is Darkhold. So that's the reference to the Darkhold. And the author Andrew Ugo, which I didn't catch until much later, is an anagram for Wundagore, which is where Wanda was born. That's where the Darkhold was kept and everything. And so
I thought maybe it was a Guardians reference, like Uga Chaka.
Nice. Yeah, that would have been very, very out of left field. But so Agatha goes looking for this book. Agnes, sorry, goes looking for this book. We find out that it is burned. Like there was just a very well-contained fire in the library that only affected these books. And with this mystery guy who lets her know that, I'm wondering if this guy's going to have a role, in the future, because to me, he doesn't look familiar in any way. So yeah, that was a really strange little moment there. We also get introduced to Agent Vidal, who is played by Aubrey Plaza, who is awesome. I love everything she does. So really excited to see her. And the chemistry between her and Catherine Hahn. By the way, I need to mention too that as long as we're in this Mayor of Easttown universe, Catherine Hahn's incredible overacting was so good. Like her reactions to some of the stuff, specifically, jump ahead a little bit here, but when she's interrogating the teen and she's given that like total loser, that line, it was so over the top and amazing. I loved it. But yeah, so her and Aubrey Plaza working together, really awesome to see. We got you sent me the video actually of a little Parks and Rec reunion on the purple carpet before the premiere.
Amy Poehler and Adam Scott were both there.
Yeah, which was really cool to see. Agnes finds a little locket and has, what's his name? Norm, right? I have a hard time remembering all the citizens of Westview's names. Norm is playing the jeweler, and he kind of, gives her the story on it. She thinks it's a brooch, but he opens up and it's a locket, and there's a little lock of black hair in there, which is interesting. Curious to see how that plays out. And then Agnes goes to her home, and it's clear, as Aubrey Plaza's character makes, very evident later on, that the woman cop cannot have a successful career and a healthy social life or something like that, I think is her words. But so Agnes is living alone. She goes into this child's room and sees all these trophies and things like that, but it's empty. And she sees, we see the name Nicholas Scratch on the trophies. Nicholas Scratch is the son of Agatha Harkness in the comics. So I'm assuming we will see this character in some capacity.
Or maybe not, because in Mayor of Easttown, I'm pretty sure she has a child who's passed.
Oh, wow. I did not know the reference went that deep. I thought it was just sort of interesting. Okay. I feel like I don't, now that it's been parodied and like it feels like a joke, I don't know if I actually want to watch this show, but I heard it was really good. So maybe I'll catch up at some point. But
well, Springfield's own Kaylee Spaney is in it, so it's more reason to watch it.
That's right. That's, I think, why I knew anything about the show, is because she's now in Alien Romulus. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. So we meet the aforementioned teen, which we can talk more about theories and stuff as probably more in the second episode.
Okay.
But yeah, but for now, we're just going to refer to him as teen because that is what she calls him going forward. And you'll see that in my episode recaps on laughingplace.com as well. So
did this, when he says his name and it's like, did it remind you of Kill Bill?
No, only because I've never seen all of Kill Bill.
Okay. Well, in the first Kill Bill, the part one, when she's the bride is as she is for the first movie, it beeps her name.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of reminded me of that.
Gotcha. So Agnes, after arresting the teen, and then, you know, her whole illusion starts to break down as he starts chanting a spell. She returns, or she heads to the morgue to see the body of, you know, of Wanda. And the toe tag is actually that library card thing. And we see her name pop up confirming this is Wanda.
It's W. Maximoff.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. It could be William Maximoff. I don't know.
Billy Maximoff.
Fair. Yeah. Although I don't. Yeah. Okay. I guess Vision doesn't have a last name, right? So,
and we know he's named Billy and not William. Technically, well, we saw his birth, but
true. Yeah, I guess she does say Billy, doesn't she? But yeah, so we get the confirmation that it's Wanda. We then see Agatha's name fill in above. Like, I like that she's like the one that checked out the Darkhold before Wanda. I'm very curious because they had a whole bunch of dates before that. If they would ever fill in, you know, that information, let us know who had the Darkhold before Agatha. We might get there because there's some, you know, this seems like the direction this is going.
Got 9 episodes.
Agatha's history.
7 more to go.
Yeah. And then, you know, so Agnes wakes up from this illusion. I like that sequence where she's kind of going through all of the costumes she had in WandaVision. Thought that was a lot of fun. And then we see, you know, she's back in reality. We see way more of Catherine Hahn than I expected to. We had a really funny moment with Herb, the neighbor. Really fun conversation. We see that. So, you know, she mentions Wanda and Herb tells her, we try not to say her name. And so you kind of get this glimpse of this town has been recovering for 3 years from what they've been through.
Level.
Yeah. She's gone full Voldemort. Maybe it's just me, but if that sort of thing happened to me in that town, I'm not living there anymore. I'm probably going to move after 3 years, or within 3 years.
Who could leave beautiful new? You know what sucks? Like the property tax on those houses, probably doing worse to them than Wanda ever did.
Can you imagine just the logistics of like what the government has to deal with, like with stuff like that, and then like the blip, and like how do you handle any of this stuff?
Oh, that scene, I was saying, I was rewatching WandaVision, and the scene where Monica comes back, it's just so sad and just crazy. And it's like, you know, just one example of the things that would be happening in that situation.
I still want that old rumored Damage Control series that's like an office comedy of just like somebody handling these sorts of situations. So yeah, we get back to reality. Agatha, who we can now refer to as Agatha and not Agnes, is, you know, angrily stomping around her house when she finds out that the teen is real, and that she basically kidnapped him. And then soon after, Aubrey Plaza, Vidal, explodes her front door, which is just rude. She just could have opened it. And then they have this really awesome fight scene. And Vidal informs her. Sorry, I keep wanting to just call her Aubrey Plaza because that's just who she is in like everything.
Go for it.
But she tells her, Agatha convinces her not to kill her. She, you know, tries to make it, you know, you want this when I have my powers. So she agrees. She tells her she's just going to sit back and watch because the Salem 7 are coming for her anyway. And in the comics, the Salem 7 are the children of Nicholas Scratch. So the grandchildren of Agatha Harkness, if you're full 23andMe right now. So in the comics, by the way, pretty stupid look. They're older characters. So, you know, like 70s comics have like really corny looking characters. I really like what they did with them in this show, which we'll talk more about in the second episode. But that's where we leave things off with the Agatha aware that the Salem 7 are coming for her. Vidal leaves her alone. And then so Agatha is just left at the house with Teen. So that's where we jump into the second episode. When you have a 2-episode release like this, are you going right back and forth, like just jumping right into the second episode?
Yeah, I couldn't have told you where episode 1 ended.
Yeah, honestly. I know. Yeah, the only way I can right now is because I've watched them like 4 times. So, yeah, that it's. I think the runtime was like long enough to where if it was 1 episode, you're like, okay, that's satisfying, but not too long that you're like, okay, I'm not going to watch the second episode right now. So let's jump into episode 2. We get to meet, quote unquote, Teen a little bit more, except as
it's a witch named Teen. So if they don't do top that at some point, I'm going to be sorely disappointed.
I didn't really think about that. That's pretty funny. So as you mentioned earlier, he tries to say his name. Agatha asks him his name, and we see his mouth kind of like get sewn shut as he tries to say it, but he's not aware that he's not saying his name, but Agatha and anybody else, they can't hear him. So it's an interesting little situation with this character.
In fact, she says that's interesting.
Yeah. So the theories of who this character is, as you mentioned earlier, actually, the thought is that it is Billy Kaplan, aka Billy Maximoff, aka Wiccan. So a member of the Young Avengers, the child of the Scarlet Witch. We get some more, I wouldn't say confirmation, but some more evidence that this is in fact Billy Kaplan. When they are in the car, let me back up just a second. He wants her to take him to the road, the witch's road, down the road. And so they're in the car, and he gets a phone call from, quote, Boyf. And so Agatha shrugs it off. But to us, Wiccan / let's call him Teen still, because that's what we have right now. But Billy Kaplan in the comics is dating and then eventually marries Hulkling, another member of the Young Avengers. So feels like that could be some nod to that. We'll see. I do think that it is Billy Kaplan, but they could go some other directions here. I mean,
didn't Jack Schaefer talk about? They mentioned something about like learning from all the different fan theories in WandaVision. So I don't know if they mean like leading into them or with red herrings or actually paying them off. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
Because you have to know. It's one of those things like, yeah, you have to know that this is what fans are going to think. So do you want them to think that or don't you?
Yeah. And I love that Marvel is willing to listen to these fan theories and play off of them, whether it's, completely shutting them down or making a joke or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. We'll see what they do with that character. But the premise of this episode is that they need to assemble a coven in order to access the Witch's Road.
Coven of Chaos, if you'll recall.
Yeah. And what was Darkhold Diaries was the other one.
Darkhold Diaries was another one. Agatha, House of Harkness.
Oh yeah, which that one doesn't really fit. So we start to meet these. That's sort of the idea of this episode, is we meet these witches one at a time, starting with Lilia Calderu, played by Patti LuPone, which, by the way, the cast of this show, I think, is one of my favorite Marvel casts ever. I think they're doing so, and it's not like it's huge names. I mean, obviously, you got Patti LuPone in there, but like, it's not big stars or anything. It's just the chemistry between them. I think they're so good. So we meet
Patti LuPone is like a legend to a certain subset of person. Like,
right.
Yeah, like she's a big star in one world, but then another, I don't know if the people watching this show, I don't know how many people know how big she is.
No, very fair. But she's fantastic.
Jeremiah is shrugging in our green room, so which is literally green at the moment, it looks like. So
nice. So yeah, Lilia Calderu, by the way, is a character in the comics. She has a brief history with Baron Mordo and Doctor Strange. This version of the character seems pretty different. I'm very interested to know what's going on with these like hallucinations she's having, or whatever these like screaming fits are. So I'm curious to get answers on her. She's like a psychic / tarot card reader, and as she is going, I've had fun writing my recaps and looking up what the tarot cards are that she's like just reciting. And so as they are trying to get this roster together of witches for their coven, she says 3 of Pentacles and then hands her the list, and that is the card representing teamwork. So there you go.
Did you happen to see the ASMR video that they released?
I saw clips of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
But yeah, they leaned into their character, so that most of hers were like shuffling cards and like whispering whatever it was.
That's cool. So that probably would have been helpful to learn more about tarot cards, but instead I'll just keep Googling them as she recites them. So as Lilia shuts them down, but that's kind of just going to be the theme of the episode. They all get turned down and then they eventually show up. Agatha heads back outside and they see that they're being watched by a crow, which, I mean, I feel like it was made pretty obvious by the tone of the episode that every time they saw an animal, it was like, okay, these are the Salem 7 watching them. So I like the creepiness of that. And again, we'll talk more about the Salem 7 because I thought they were really well handled. We then meet Jennifer Kale, who is again, a witch in the comics. She is a member of the Midnight Suns, a team that includes just honestly some misfit characters like Ghost Rider and Howard the Duck. So interesting character to include. There was a reference to some production behind the scenes stuff for WandaVision that we're not going to get into specifics about, but if you know, you know, and it was really funny. So then we have Jennifer. That's the potions witch. I don't know, they have titles for them. I can't remember what they all are, but so Jennifer is now their next addition to the coven. They have 2 more that they're supposed to get, but Agatha refuses to use one of them, and then she eats the list, which I thought was really funny. And then they go to recruit Alice Wu Gulliver, who is the daughter of August Wu in the comics, the daughter of Lorna Wu in the show. I like that they played around with this because August Wu in the comics is it's actually August Wu of the Coral Shore, the like mystical protector of Hong Kong. And their band, she's a rock star in the show. The band is Lorna Wu and the Coral Shore. So I like the way that they had that reference in there. And Lorna recorded the most famous version of the ballad, which again will be stuck in all of our heads after this discussion. So there you go. You got Alice, that is your protector witch. And then as they are heading back to Agatha's house, Agatha tries to get more information out of Teen. We see that he is muted again. This time it's done differently. It's not the like sewn mouth. It's just he is silent, and she like does the snap test and everything. And so I thought that was pretty cool, pretty well done. We get the coven all together in Agatha's house. Turns out they're missing their green witch, their earth witch, which WHICH. Lilia points out, I'm trying to get all the names right in my head. Lilia points out that the list didn't have a 4th name. It had a black heart, which this immediately triggered in my head. There is a Marvel character called Blackheart. We don't know much about this Vidal character. It would be a stretch to make that connection. But we'll see. Blackheart, if you Google Blackheart, very different looking from Aubrey Plaza in the sense that he is a demon. So not totally out of the realm of possibility, but I don't expect that to be the case.
So using a black pen.
Right. Yes, exactly. And that's Agatha's case, is that it was a black heart because she was using a black pen. So she goes and recruits Mrs. Hart, Deborah Jo Rupp from WandaVision. So really nice to see her return for this and have a pretty big role, much bigger than I would have expected. So we see her as the 5th member of the coven, 5.5. I don't know if Teen counts. So they have to sing the Ballad of the Witch's Road. And I really like the bit where they're all singing it. And Mrs. Hart is like, am I supposed to know this song? Because
then she gets really into it by like the 3rd verse.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
He's like, I don't know the words, but I've heard you repeat this part over and over again, so I can jump in. And then we get to see the Salem 7, which were these really creepy, like
Death Eaters.
Yeah, Death Eaters slash what's the other one? I'm not a Harry Potter Harry Potter fan, but Dementors. Yeah, they kind of have that vibe too. You are someone who is not a big horror fan, and there was a pretty effective jump scare in this moment. Did that get you?
Apparently not. No.
Really? Okay.
I think I knew. I know how to race.
Sure. Yeah. I've heard, a bunch of people talking about, that people that do watch horror movies that were caught off guard by that. So just going to ignore the dog barking in the background. But the Salem 7 come after Agatha, and they are super creepy. There's this uncanny valley aspect to their movement, which was really well done. I thought that was really cool to kind of get the horror element into this show right as the episode comes to a close, because the witches do escape down the witches' road as we start off on this journey for the next 7 episodes. So yeah, that is it. That is the end of the second episode of Agatha All Along. Again, both of these are now streaming on Disney Plus. What are your overall thoughts?
I like it. I think is it Samir Zamata? That's her name. Her real name?
No. Yeah.
Sure.
Samir Zamata. Yeah.
I think she's probably my favorite. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. She used to be on SNL. She did Home Economics on ABC.
I didn't know
it's cool to see her in this role. And I thought the scene where they crash her store was really funny. It was interesting to see it play out in terms of, first of all, just Agatha making a scene and talking about, goop type stuff. And then the way Teen kind of seemed really sympathetic and like a fan. And then you see it slowly turn. I thought that was done well. But yeah, no, I'm having fun with it. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I haven't read negative things, but I see people, I see articles, and I can't tell if it's actual complaining or people talking about people complaining. So it means there's two people.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, if people are upset with it, I don't understand why, but I also didn't get that with She-Hulk either. So
yeah, I totally agree. I really liked it. And again, I've seen 2 more episodes. I've really liked everything I've seen so far. Sashir Zamata, by the way, is her name. I had to make sure I got that correct. But yeah, I really, like I said, I love the cast. I think they all come together very well. I'm excited to learn more about some of these characters, because they all seem to have a little bit of a history, a dark secret of some sort. So I'm curious to see where we go with some of their individual stories. All right. Think that covers it.
I will also say, to our theory about Teen potentially being Wiccan, getting Joe Locke to play that role and knowing that there will be a Young Avengers, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think the level of casting there probably suggests that we'll be seeing him in other projects. So
that's a fair point.
Someone like Wiccan would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. All right, let's jump into, you can see if you're watching live, the banner is down. No more spoilers for Agatha All Along. We are going to jump into some nonsense as soon as I find the right button. How much is that cameo? I'm excited to see how terrible I am at this. But we are going to be joined by our guest, who has been hanging out in his green room for far too long. So let's welcome Jeremiah.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Good.
Yes, do we need a banner for you too?
Yes.
Okay, we'll just make it say Jeremiah instead of if you're watching this live.
I really enjoyed Agatha All Along. I know that I was not in that conversation, but I got to go to the D23 screen in the AMC at downtown Disney Springs, and that jump scare nailed everybody in there.
Yeah.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that it didn't get you, Kyle.
I'm just too good.
I guess so. So it's been a while since we played How Much Is That Cameo? Jeremiah, you've done this before. You know how it works.
Yes.
Pretty self-explanatory. Kyle is going to give us somebody who has some sort of Marvel connection who is on Cameo, and we are going to guess how much they are charging for their cameo. So Kyle, who do we have this week?
let's watch this person's intro.
Hey guys, it's Danny Diet from some of your favorite shows like Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, The Sinner, Season 3, and Ozark. If you guys need me to send any well wishes or funny messages to any of your friends and family, let me know. I will be happy to do so. And there might even be a special guest appearance from my favorite guy, Link. All right, guys, we will chat soon. Bye.
So as she said, that is Danny Diet. I see the confused look on her face. She is Gigi, one of the flag smashers in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And in case you're listening to this, Link is a dog. She was a dog.
Good point.
Not a monkey. Sorry.
No. But the most important question I have for you is, how much is that cameo?
So I'm debating on how much the dog adds value.
I mean, if you're Benji, $100 easy.
Right. This is tough. It's always hard. Kyle always hits us with these like bit role characters. She has some other big roles there. She has a role in Ozark. I don't know how big her role is in Ozark, but I know that's a very popular, successful show. So this is tough. It's been a while, so I don't remember like what the scale is like on Cameo.
The Lindsay Lohan scale.
Yeah, I forget how many Lohans she should be worth. Oh man, I'm gonna start us off, Jeremiah, and I'm gonna jump in with I'll go $70.
Okay, 70 for Mac. Jeremiah.
I was thinking like 75. But you know, depending, I don't know what her role in Ozark was. If Ozark was a pretty popular series, so if it was a bigger role, maybe 100. But I'm gonna Price is Right and go 75.
Yeah, that's smart.
75. Okay. Then this week's winner is Mac, because that cameo is very affordable, $19.
Whoa!
Wow, we should wait. Can we just send one to Benji just to get Link in there?
You can't afford not to at that price.
I know.
Right? We need to get Benji a cameo just from Link. Like we don't even need her in there.
Bark.
I once got Benji a cameo from Pixar Good Luck Charm, John Ratzenberger.
Nice.
And that was more than
that one.
More than 19. I don't remember how much. It was not cheap, but it was fun.
Fair. All right. You guys ready to draft?
No, not really.
No, but yes.
Sure. Oh, before we
told you we were putting a team together. Assemble.
So I do have one question before we jump into that. Sorry. Is this going to be the tie between the MCU and the FXX universe?
Oh, with Legion?
Yeah. That's the only thing I could think of. I was like, wait, I know her from that because she was bad in that role too.
I do like that Aubrey Plaza is on the short list of people who have 2 Marvel roles at this point.
She talked about that at one point, like in an interview, being like, yeah, I was on this.
Only 5 of us ever watched it.
I started a rewatch last year and I ended in like the middle of season 2, so I got to give it another shot. But anyway, so we are going to jump into our draft now. We are drafting, kind of going along the line of witches and roads. We are going to recast the Wizard of Oz, but we've done these recasts before, typically with Marvel actors. This time we are recasting with Marvel characters. So imagine characters playing the roles of the Wizard of Oz. So more specifically, we're doing 5 rounds. We're casting Dorothy, the Scarecrow, Tin Man, Cowardly Lion, and the Wicked Witch of the West. This should be really interesting. I have no idea where you guys are going to go.
It was also a Wizard of Oz reference on Agatha, which is
I love that reference. Like I was the only person in the theater that got that, and I started freaking out.
So yeah, like I said, I'm really interested to see where this goes because this was one of the few drafts where I didn't feel like I needed like 3 options in every category because you're not going to take some of mine. All right, Jeremiah, you know how this works. It's going to be a snake draft. Do you want to pick first, second, or third?
We're doing Dorothy, Scarecrow, Tin Man.
You can do it in any order you want.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Yeah, it can be any order you want. But yeah, we do have 5 rounds. So
I'll give you a hint. There's 5 rounds, and it's a snake.
It is more
draft.
advantageous to pick first.
I'll go first.
All right, Kyle, you have the first pick between the two of us, so that means you are second.
Okay.
So Jeremiah, you can start us off. Whichever character you want to recast with a Marvel character.
Oh, and by the way, it is just called the book checkout card.
Book checkout card. Okay, good to know.
I don't get to pull out fancy words like Dewey Decimal System.
I know. Wow.
There's no wrong answer.
I know.
There's no wrong right answer. This is, there's no clear 101 here on the board.
I'm going Tin Man first.
Okay.
And I'm going Vision.
Yeah, okay. Vision was on my list. So, good pick. Vision was actually a late addition to my list too. I had a few different options and then replaced somebody with Vision. So, and I'm curious because obviously, Tin Man, Vision, he's made of metal. But how much of this did you guys think like, well, okay, the Scarecrow is looking for a brain, the Vision
50-50.
Yeah, okay.
Totally.
All right.
I was on that, like when you first told me, that was my initial thought.
Yeah.
And then when I started putting the list together, I'm like, it doesn't work out. And like when we get to the Cowardly Lion, I kind of just had fun with it.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, Kyle, you pick second here. Who are you going with?
That is a great question. I'll go with tying into today's other news for my Cowardly Lion. I think I'm going to take the Red Guardian.
Oh, that's a good pick. I didn't. That was like Jeremiah just said. It was hard to come up with like the cowardly character.
Yeah, there's not like really like a coward. I'll save my honorable mentions for later. But yeah, there's a few. But I liked his vibe as a Cowardly Lion. Like he'll be brave when he needs to, but it's not his favorite thing to do.
Okay, so that's interesting because I did have one on my Cowardly Lion list that I thought Kyle was going to take from me. Now I don't have to worry.
It's very possible that that it's on my short list.
All right, interesting. Let's see here. I think I'm going to go.
But it's also moot, so you could, you don't have,
right.
You're in no
exactly.
rush.
I don't have to worry about him now. So
is that a Maison Perrier?
It is.
What do you think about it compared to the regular Perrier?
I miss the old Perrier.
Okay, is it like I need to look at, or
no? I don't really know what the difference is. Like, other than
he knows he likes this one less.
There's some flavor difference, but the
difference in reality is that it's no longer naturally like occurring mineral water. It's just seltzer. Sorry for that detour. I had to know because I see this Maison Perrier taking it over everywhere, and I haven't had it yet.
Welcome to Sparkling Water Talk with Laughing Place. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take my Scarecrow here, just because there are a few where this was one where I thought this Scarecrow is looking for a brain. I still think there's probably no chance you guys would have taken him, but I'm gonna go zombie Hank Pym. That is my choice.
That leaves zombie everyone else still on the board.
Yeah, that's fair. I was curious to see. I consider just going like zombie, but no, we'll go specifically zombie Hank Pym. And then I am up again here, and I'm gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take my Cowardly Lion to not let Jeremiah potentially steal him from me. I'm gonna go with Stephen Grant.
Okay, that's a good one.
Oh, did not even go that one. No.
Yeah, okay. So Stephen Grant looking for his courage and could potentially find him in Mark Spector. So there you go. That's my Cowardly Lion. And then we are back to Kyle, who has a Cowardly Lion.
I do have a Cowardly Lion, yes. Okay. I guess I'm going to take my Dorothy next, I think. I'm going to take Kate Bishop.
Oh, Kate Bishop was actually on my list, and to be honest, I'm not even entirely sure why. I think it's just the look.
Why not? If you can get Haley in there, why not? I mean, I guess granted, this doesn't have to be MCU characters, and it's no guarantee that it's played by the same people, but it helps to choose MCU characters that people can picture.
Especially when she was very well casted, like looks exactly like her in the comics. So I think it's a solid pick. All right, Jeremiah, back to you. You have a Tin Man. Where are you going with next?
I'm looking. I'm like, I know that I'm safe on almost
You
everybody.
get back-to-back picks now, by the way. So that was a good opportunity to.
I'm gonna go with the Wicked Witch of the West.
I was curious to see who was going to do it first, and I'm curious to see who the first choice is going to be too.
I'm going to go with one of the most powerful entities in Marvel, the Dark Phoenix, not Wanda.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't have Dark Phoenix on my list, but we can talk more about that as we.
I Jean Grey / Dark Phoenix, but
sure. Still a little bit different, but we can. Yeah, no, Dark Phoenix. That's honestly a horrifying version of the Wizard of Oz.
No, I definitely was going because I love Wizard of Oz, and I look at my list and I'm like, there are some on here that are, hey, this will be a great version, and then there are a lot that are like, if I had the dark version, this would be perfect. If I had the Malice in Wonderland version, like these characters would work perfect.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys at the top too before we started. Are you big Wizard of Oz fans? I know Jeremiah, you just said you are. Kyle, are you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. I respect it as a classic movie.
I mean, I haven't watched it in a long time. The last time I saw it was one of the anniversary re-releases. I saw it at the AMC Ontario 30.
Oh wow! Okay.
Wow. I don't think I ever saw anything at the Ontario 30. I actually have read all the books. I love the movie. I will pop that on almost any time that I just need something to fall asleep to. So yeah, Wizard of Oz for me is up there in the nerdum.
Have you done the Dark Side of the Moon thing?
No, and that's mostly because I'm not a huge Pink Floyd fan.
Fair.
I've done it once, but it was towards like the end of our Halloween movie marathon, and I was definitely falling asleep.
All right, Jeremiah, kick us off in the third round here. You have Vision as Tin Man, Dark Phoenix as the Wicked Witch. Where are you going next?
So I'm going to go Dorothy. I will go the opposite of the Wicked Witch. This one, I was just like, there were so many names on there. I also do have a theory when we get to the end that I need to talk about. I'm going Mary Jane.
Oh man,
yeah,
that was actually the top of my list and kind of ruins my plan a little bit. So yeah, I probably should have done that one instead of maybe Zombie Hank Pym or something.
Well, Dorothy's so hard, like, because I'm looking at my list and I have the non-powered, and then I have the powered, and then I have the dark one. But I think Mary Jane would just work perfect as Dorothy.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's crazy. I have a list of 3 for Dorothy, and you guys have taken 2 of them, so that is impressive. All right, so Mary Jane Watson. Now, are you thinking like MCU, or are you going comic book? What's
I'm going comic book.
Yeah, that was my thought as well.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, you've got Kate Bishop as Dorothy and Red Guardian as Cowardly Lion. Who's next?
I think I'm going to go for my Tin Man because I'm a little bit more settled on that. I'm going to take Colossus.
Oh, nice. That's a good pick and was not on my list and should have been.
I feel like there's only one left for the Tin Man, and hopefully
is it Tin Man?
You could just name a metal and put man after it, and you're probably accurate.
Well, one of them famously does have a heart.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, actually, in that instance, I am. Well, hang on. You guys do both have your Tin Man, but you both also have your Dorothy. So I don't know where I want to go here.
Well, you have 2 back-to-back, so go right ahead.
2 back-to-back, and I'm going to take my Wicked Witch. And since Jeremiah ruined my plan of going Mary Jane, and well, I won't name it here because Kyle still has to pick a Wicked Witch. So I am going to go. I'll go in the direction of Jeremiah, and I'm going to go with Madeline Pryor. That is the version of Jean Grey that I had in mind. So I think she fits the bill there.
Yeah.
All right. I'll allow it.
And then let's see. Now I need a Dorothy or a Tin Man. And again, you guys both have picked yours already. So we'll just go with my Tin Man, and I'm gonna just go very on the nose here. We're gonna go Ironheart. Riri Williams.
Yes, because the Iron Heart needs a heart. That's the moral of the story.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, in that case, I guess I need a witch and a scarecrow. I guess I'll be because no one else has taken a scarecrow yet, right?
I have Zombie Hank Pym.
Zombie. Okay, that's
you
right.
cannot take Zombie Hank Pym as your scarecrow.
Can't take Zombie Hank Pym. But I'm going to take somebody else who has wicked fast reflexes, but not that much of a brain. I'm taking Zzzax.
That's a good pick. Didn't think about that. You threw me for a second when you said wicked fast. I was like, who from Boston are you taking?
Hearing about Doobie's stupid ESPN trip for the past 2 weeks has really just gotten.
Kyle is now honorary Bostonian.
Yeah.
All right, so Zzzax as a scarecrow, that is a solid pick. Jeremiah, back-to-back picks to end your draft here now. Scarecrow and a Cowardly Lion.
I will go. Scarecrow, just he needs a brain.
How bad do you want this to be a DC draft so you could just draft Scarecrow?
Oh, trust me, I was like, there is no Scarecrow in the MCU. Hulk for the Scarecrow because he needs a brain.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Cowardly Lion.
Just destroying the entire Yellow Brick Road the entire way down.
Yes. Well, and that's the Cowardly Lion. My initial thought, I'll wait again for my theory. I'm going to just go the easy way and go Beast.
Oh, okay. Just for the look of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So Beast rounds out your team there. And then Kyle, we are back to you for your last pick, which is the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Did I choose the Wizard?
We did not draft the Wizard. No.
Okay.
I have so many different options here because, like you guys mentioned, Wanda. That makes sense because she has a sibling that was killed, and that would make sense.
Didn't make that connection.
And then there's another one that I thought of, but I think I'm gonna call an audible on myself. This is the second time I think I've said call an audible. I'm gonna choose Loki because he has his flying monkeys.
Totally had Loki on my list also.
I like it. No, that definitely fits the look, the color scheme, everything. I like it. All right, so I need my Dorothy to end this draft here, and you, like I said, I had a list of 3. You guys took 2 of them. Leaves me with one option, and I decided to, like Jeremiah said, we can go with different versions of this story. I'm just choosing to go with the most entertaining possible one. So my Dorothy is Deadpool.
Makes sense.
I had Deadpool on every single one of mine. Like it was like he could fit everywhere.
Yeah, I did have Deadpool on for Cowardly Lion and for Scarecrow as well. So
in fact, if that story time with Deadpool comes up and they can somehow get the rights to Wizard of Oz, a one-man Deadpool production
that would be a lot of fun.
I would fly to DCA right away for that.
Why would you fly to Washington, D.C. for that? That doesn't make any sense.
DCA.
Yeah, DCA, Ronald Reagan International Airport.
Kyle he speaks fluent airport code. So.
Yeah.
All right, let me run through our lineups real quick. Jeremiah has Mary Jane Watson as Dorothy. Scarecrow is the Incredible Hulk. Tin Man is Vision. Cowardly Lion is Beast. Wicked Witch is Dark Phoenix. Kyle has as Dorothy is Kate Bishop. Scarecrow is Drax. Tin Man is Colossus. Cowardly Lion is Red Guardian. And Wicked Witch is Loki. I have my Dorothy is Deadpool. Scarecrow is Zombie Hank Pym. The Tin Man is Ironheart. Cowardly Lion is Stephen Grant. And the Wicked Witch is Madeline Pryor. Who was possibly left on you guys' lists? More importantly, Jeremiah, what is this theory you're
so I kept looking at the different characters, the main 4: Dorothy, the Lion, Tin Man, and Scarecrow. Without even going into detail, think of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. I considered trying to go for that, but I figured somebody would mess up my draft before I could pick all 4 of them. So
yeah, I want to. that's one of those questions at some point, Stan, sometime in the afterlife. How much of Wizard of Oz was your basis for that?
Fair. Dr. Doom with the green jacket. Yeah.
Exactly.
What about?
Like I did say Sue Storm for Dorothy. So
yeah, like I said, I considered trying to go for it, but I figured there was no way I was going to actually get all four of them. Any honorable mentions for you, Jeremiah?
Dorothy. I had Sue, She-Hulk, because they actually did do a Marvel comic that was Wizard of Oz that had She-Hulk as Dorothy.
Yeah.
Scarecrow, I had Peter Quill, just because he fits the movie too well.
Sure.
Tin Man, Iron Man was the one that I had left off. Cowardly Lion, Sabretooth, Ben Grimm. Apocalypse was one I put down for Cowardly Lion, just because I think it would be hilarious.
Yep, that would be pretty good.
Wanda and Agatha.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised that nobody took Agatha. I feel like,
that was the main reason for all this.
Yeah.
But my favorite that we didn't do was the Wizard. And this is the dark version that I see. MODOK as the Wizard.
I wanted to cast MODOK so bad. I just couldn't fit him to any of the roles, really. Kyle, what about you? Anybody left on your list?
For the Cowardly Lion, I had Scott Lang, seemed like the most trepidatious of the Avengers. Also, Sonny Birch, just because I think Walter Goggins just has that vibe too. We already talked about witches. Jubilee was my alternate Dorothy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. I would have liked that. Yeah.
Korg for Tin Man. Just because.
Good choice. Yeah.
And Thor for Scarecrow, just because himbo.
Fair. I like it. The only one that I really two I had left on my list for Scarecrow, I had Frogman. I just wanted the dumbest possible character I could think of. And then for the Dorothy Wicked Witch combination I wanted was Mary Jane and the Green Goblin. That was how I was going to play that.
Totally had that thought of Green Goblin too.
Yeah, I also thought about just green characters like Gamora or She-Hulk for
Wicked Witch.
For the witch, but I'm like, no, I'd rather fit the spirit of the character more than the color.
Well, for a nonsense draft, I think you guys did pretty well, and I drafted Deadpool as Dorothy. So,
and Zombie Hank Pym.
Hank Pym. Those are two that will be up there in your top picks ever.
I think if when we hit episode 100, maybe our draft should just be our all-time worst draft picks. That might be a good one.
Happy Hogan.
Yeah. There was
Storm and Happy Hogan all over again.
There were Happy Hogan thoughts throughout this entire draft for me.
Well, Jeremiah, thank you for joining us. What do you got going on right now?
We're getting
traveling all over the world at all times.
Yeah, getting ready for Parks Talk in 2 hours ish, 3 hours ish.
If you're watching live, if you're listening. It was days ago.
Go to youtube.com/laughingplace and watch it on the live tab.
Yes. We also have, again, if you're watching it live, there's going to be a walk and talk on Friday from Disney's Hollywood Studios that may or may not be Kyle. We don't know.
We never know. I could look at the schedule, but why would I do that ahead of time?
And then next month, I'm going to New York and then on to Seoul, South Korea.
Yeah.
To see the same exhibit you've seen like half a dozen times.
No, only once. I've only seen this exhibit once.
How? You went to at least two.
Well, they are different. So this is the Disney 100 exhibition.
Yeah.
There is a US tour.
So this is the one from London.
Yeah, this is the one that started in Munich, Germany, then went to London, is now Seoul, South Korea. Talk about
in London.
Trip.
Sorry, thank you. I do that every time. Except I didn't do it this time. But yeah, I thank you.
And then there's the US one that you saw in Kansas City.
And that you've seen 2 or 3 times.
Nope, I've only seen it once also. That was in Philadelphia.
Whatever. Feels like you're there every time.
No, that's the
point is that you already saw it on one side of the world and that you really don't need to go see it again on the other side of the world. But have fun with K-pop stands and get some bubble tea or something.
When there's the question of, do you want to go to Seoul, South Korea? The answer should always be yes.
Well, see, I'm so conditioned that when I saw your itinerary, my initial thought was, oh, he's going to Hong Kong because you have to, if you're flying Delta, you have to go through Seoul.
Trust me, like I was kind of like, there's enough going on at Hong Kong that I could just, but yeah.
enjoy Laughing Place's new podcast debuting next week. Sparkling Water and Travel with Jeremiah.
Yes.
So,
just recorded live on a 15-hour flight.
Just stocking up episodes over the course of that time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, Jeremiah, and we'll
anytime, guys.
We'll have you back at some point. We don't know our schedule, but in the future.
South Korea made an America triangle. I'm singing San Diego. Where in the world is Carmen San Diego?
Oh,
gotcha. Okay. All right.
In the world.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Cutting him off is the funniest thing.
All right. Well, like I just said, we don't really know what our schedule is like. Obviously, there's more Agatha All Along coming out weekly on Disney Plus. We'll find a way to discuss it. We don't know exactly when, but we will.
Probably every 2 weeks makes the most sense, but I know you have other challenges coming up, but I think we'll be able to finish this first, right?
Maybe. Okay. We'll see. It all depends. Who knows? But like I said, we'll figure things out. We will come back at some point to discuss Agatha All Along. So you'll see that. And then, there's still a whole slate of Marvel projects in the next
down the road.
Yep. I'm gonna play that song as soon as we're done recording here. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Make sure to head to laughingplace.com for all your latest Marvel news and your latest Disney news in general. As far as that Marvel slate is concerned, we do have a full timeline of all the scheduled Marvel projects that you can check out on Laughing Place as well. So head over there for that. Kyle, what else? What are we missing here?
Nothing. Laughingplace.com. Oh, you know what? If you're watching live on YouTube, we do have YouTube memberships now, so you can become a YouTube member. You get fun emojis with the lower price. That's basically just like, a little way to support us. But if you want to support us even more, we have a higher tier. You'll get access to our Discord, where we just discuss all sorts of nonsense. Sometimes Doobie will crowdsource his Disney Trivia Live questions from there. And yeah, all sorts of frivolity and football picks, which we did not do well at.
But be sure to come back next week, because
you never know. I don't blame us. I blame football.
Listen, football's been crazy and impossible to predict. So, all right. So that's going to do it for us. And again, we'll be back sometime in the future.
Bye
everyone.